Howdy. Here is my review of the year 2014, and you chose. I know it's forcing you to watch this longer one. I'm going to do what I did on the other one, just in case some people skip the other. So 2014, it's been a challenging year, a scary year, a painful year, and it still is now and then. Definitely a humbling year, but also it was a fun year at times, and definitely a blessed year. Days since my accident, some days are totally 100% forgotten. You know, I don't recall them at all. Some are vague. I say they're very fleeting. I had these fleeting images of being in the helicopter when at least I comprehended that I was in a wreck. They said I spoke, you know, while I was in the car and all that, and I don't remember that, but I do remember when I really felt like I knew what was going on. I was in the helicopter about to take off. I remember being scanned. That hurt a lot when they were moving me over at trauma at Methodist. It really hurt a lot. I remember talking to the doctors a little bit, especially Dr. Gasky, who was encouraging, saying we can get through this without any metal. Even though you have 5 really bad pelvic fractures and ribs and neck, we can get through this if you sit on your rear end after you get out of trauma and the rehab hospital, get home, sit for 6 weeks, no weight on the left leg, and we can get through this, especially because the sacrum was split in 2. I wouldn't have to have metal, and that's, I obeyed him, and so I'm very, very fortunate with that. Some of the days are kind of a fast forward, other days are kind of in a slow motion. So that's what I started out the other one with, roughly. Oh, and speaking of vague memories, this could be totally made up. I've talked to a couple doctors. They said you may come up with some things just because you've seen stuff on TV or whatever. Just lately I've had this fleeting image of me in the car and then maybe covering me up and as they were cutting me out of the car. That could be total fiction. I don't know. But for some reason I've got that. You know, just this very, very fleeting thing while in the car. So right now, 9 months later, I am progressing well. Actually, I am bragging a little. I'm really doing really well. My orthopedic doctor said, you know, he was up front at the beginning there in visits. He goes, you know, I said, how long do you think till I can run? And he was going, you know, with your kind of injuries, and you got some pretty severe damage here. It can take a year or 2 for some people to get back to running if you were an athlete of any sort. So I've been kind of what you might describe as laser focused. If you've been around me, you really know that. I don't talk about it too much. And I've just been stubborn about doing my physical therapy, and I got to walking as soon as I can and the running. As I recovered, I thought about that lately. You know, I keep thinking, why am I still sore? Well, obviously I was in a bad wreck, but even though I started walking in June or something, and I mean I was still using a walker, and then I'm walking, regular walking, I was not moving fast. You know, all those the times with the wheelchair, of course, and then the walker, I was moving, but I wasn't using these muscles and ligaments down the pelvic area very much at all. And then even as I began walking, I was walking really slowly, so I wasn't stretching stuff out, those muscles and everything that had atrophied all that time. So it's 9 months later, but you know, things are not really back to normal. I'm getting there. My core has never been better. Oh my goodness, I've really been knocking that out. I'm averaging 4 to 5 hours a day in my therapy that I got from Jessica at Progressive Therapy. She's great. Then I've got 2 sessions I do with her at the beginning, at the end of my session that I do in the morning and in the evening, normally, or afternoon. And then I've got an ab routine, 8-minute abs off the internet you can find, some Jillian stuff. The only difference is what you find online is I've quadrupled. I do like 50 reps or more of each thing, and really knocking it out. So all I got left is a little bitty pooch there, not much, but I like the strength of my core. That's really going to help me. And so that's every day. And then I go, I'm doing, as I'll talk later, I'm doing a training schedule again, and running and going to Snap Fitness to work on the machines and treadmills if I don't go outside to run. I'm doing the same training schedule as I was last year at this time, but I've had to adapt it because that I'm doing that therapy. That alone makes me really tired because I really work hard at it. So on the daily runs, like this week, it's supposed to be like 6, 4, and 6 or 7, and then a 14-miler. I'm doing much less. Half the time I'm cutting them in half. Because if I do all of that plus the therapy, then I just accumulate all this fatigue because my stamina is not back yet, all of it. I get to that long run, and then it can make it tough. So by shortening, those are mainly, I say, just to keep the wheels on. I'm moving, and I do some steep power walking on a treadmill maybe. So far I do most of the shorter runs on a treadmill at Snap, just because they don't take that long, and I don't want to spend all the time driving out. Or I go to the cross-country course at Freeman Field if it's not muddy. But the long runs are sacred. I don't cut them short. So lately I did, recently I did a 16 one week, and then I did last week an 18, followed the next day by a 10. And it went really well. So I'm going to start doing more of those back-to-back kind of things. This week I do a 14-miler tomorrow on New Year's Day. And I might go do the 5K for Midfield. I haven't decided. So am I 100%? No. People think I am by looking at me. I've said this before in other videos, but I'm really not. I really feel it. I still feel the accident every day, almost every step that I run or walk, unless I'm distracted, which I distract myself all the time. So before long, I'll be getting up into the my long runs each week will be in the between 20 and 30 miles each week, with a follow-up backup run, probably a back-to-back run the next when I feel like it. Some days it's uncomfortable when I'm out there, especially the first mile or two, and this tends to kind of loosen up. And if I have music going or I get thinking, I can almost forget it some days. Other days, I can't. Sitting still is bad news. Now, if I'm in this lazy boy and I move around, not so bad. I was at a movie the other day for 2 hours or something, and that really gets uncomfortable. And so I've got a long flight from Indy to Munich, then Munich to Krakow, when I go to Auschwitz in a few weeks. And so I got to definitely make sure I get up and do some walking, because it becomes really painful sitting very long. It's just something I'll be glad. I hope that goes away. Dr. Gasky told me it may never feel the same again when I run. Hopefully the uncomfortable and the pain, but it may never actually feel the same. And I think he's right, but we'll see how that goes. My stamina is getting better, as I mentioned. I would say definitely my mental toughness when I'm out there running is a lot better. I just got so used to running 3, walking 1, or 4, 1. And now I'm really working hard at just running a mile, maybe taking a drink of water, walk for 10, 15 seconds, if that, and then go running again. So when I do these long runs, most of the time I'm running. Jogging is what most people would call the real runner friends that I've got. And I say that not demeaning myself. I'm not really a real runner. I know some people don't like me to say that. I know someone in Indy who named Dot thinks that, but I'm kind of a jogger. You know, I'm not really running. So that's why I say that. You know, and I'm back of the pack, but I'm going for the experience. Complete, not compete. So it's mainly sore pelvic muscles, ligaments. My weight, I've dropped it down, so I'm like 148, 150. Some people don't like it, but they'll have to get over it. It feels great. So why am I doing so well? I mentioned before, I'm just stubborn in a work ethic. I'm going to get back. Mainly just trying to have a positive attitude. Once I realized what had happened and what I faced to recover, I just focused on fixing it. You know, and Susie did too. She really didn't know how badly I was damaged when she got the first phone call, and then she was told. Kat and John Maher picked her up, and off she goes to Bedford. Then they get called and say, go to Indy. And even then, you know, they really didn't tell her what was wrong with me. And then she found out, and when she got there, she was kind of like me, like, oh, he's not dead. Let's fix this. You know. Plus, you know, the way we handle things around here in the Moman Ranch is we're just really sarcastic. We're really, really bad. We pass that on to our kids. And some of them are even better than us at it. But I think sarcasm and humor really, really helps with something like this, because otherwise you're going to waste time on being a victim, or you're going to be angry with someone or the situation, and we just decided just to fix it. And that's just the way we deal with it, you know. So we joke about, you know, almost died, and what would this be like? But, you know, it's just what we do. So if you don't like sarcasm, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. I'm not back to normal. I'm hoping sometime in 2015 I get back to normal, or as close as I can get to it. Okay, if it feels different, it feels different. You know, I definitely want to get back to the Indiana Trail 100 sometime, and I want to do a lot of 24-hour events. I really, really like those. Thanking people individually would take too long, and some I need to thank, and I don't remember you being there. So Just a couple of quick final things. Let's talk about God. I thank Him for allowing me to continue. I don't get involved with a bunch of theology about that because I've got friends who have different opinions about this or that. I just say we're in a fallen world and bad things happen, and I don't have the mind of God. So all I know is I'm thankful that, He allowed me to live. He would not have loved me any less if I had died, Party with Jesus, there we go. It's like Fred Beerward and I, we don't you think about things that, the edge of the universe, or how can there not, it just thinks it hurts your head. So I just don't worry about that. I'm just thankful for what I have and I keep on going. Of course, my family has been great. And encouraging me and all that, and Michael is a big help here with they're initially coming home, building stuff and ramps and all that. So everybody's really been great, and so I can't go through everything. A lot of former students and colleagues reached out, and I thank you as well, and especially fellow runners. I've mentioned this in other videos before, but especially people with the Indiana Trail Runners. I'm a member of that group. And very, very encouraging. And then the people at the Indiana Trail 100, just great. And there's a lot of overlap there. And so I've been to races, and people come up and encourage me and ask me how I'm doing. They encourage me during a race. And some of them I don't know, but they just know me because I put my face on videos and they've seen it. But you know who you are, especially. Certain runners have been just quite encouraging on Facebook, especially. And it's been a lot to me, that's for sure. That's why I love the community of trail running and ultras. So that's it. Overall, it's been a great year. Learn a lot. I'm recovering well, and then and there's been other great things too. Becky and Corey's wedding in Alaska. We went to that over Memorial Day weekend. I had just barely stopped using a walker. I was using a cane, and it was tough, but I still had some pain medicine I could get through. But it was wonderful to be at her wedding in Alaska at Denali, and of course fifth granddaughter Orabelle, Sarah and Rob out in California, and then watching all the other grandkids get older and older. It's 5 granddaughters now, and then I'm excited about, it's really less than 4 weeks away now, I think, the trip to Poland, to Auschwitz, the 70th commemoration and liberation of Auschwitz, going with a group of people and being led by Eva Kor, who is Auschwitz and a Dr. Mengele survivor of the twin experiments. So been a great year, and that's probably enough, more than I need to say, but thanks a lot, and we'll see you.